Okay, let's dive into this. So you're on the internet every day, right? But what if I told you that what you're seeing, it's just a sliver of the whole picture? Yeah, there's this huge hidden part that Google has no idea about, and most of us have never laid eyes on. Today, we're going to take a tour of that hidden world, the dark web. Seriously, just picture it. Everything you know, Google, YouTube, all your social media, that's just the tip of this giant iceberg. It really makes you wonder, right? What in the world is hiding down there in the deep? All right, so to really wrap your head around the dark web, you've got to understand that the internet isn't just one thing. Nope, it's actually built in three separate layers. So come on, let's peel them back and see what we find. Okay, first up is the surface web. This is your day-to-day internet. We're talking about everything a search engine like Google can find. You type something in, you get a result, boom, you're on the surface web. Easy peasy. All right, let's go a level deeper. We've got the deep web. And I know the name sounds super ominous, right? But the thing is, this is where most of the internet actually is. And it's not scary. It's just private. We're talking about your email, your online bank account, a company's internal network, stuff that's behind a password for a really good reason. And because of that, Google can't touch it. And then, buried way down inside that deep web, that's where we find it, the dark web. Now, this is a tiny, tiny piece of the internet that is purposefully hidden. The big difference here, it's all built for one thing, anonymity. And to get in, you need a special key, some very specific software. So this chart here really breaks it all down. Look at accessibility, right? Surface web, any browser. Deep web, you just log in. But the dark web, you need something like Tor. And check it out, Google can't index the deep or the dark web. But here's the real kicker, the most important part, that bottom row, anonymity. It goes from pretty low to medium, and then bam, skyrockets to high on the dark web. And that right there changes the entire game. And that extreme anonymity, well, that's where things get complicated. It's a classic double-edged sword. I mean, when you have a place where you can be totally untraceable, it becomes a space where incredible good and, well, incredible evil can exist side by side. And you can see that split personality right here. On the one hand, anonymity is literally a lifeline. It helps journalists talk to sources safely. It lets activists organize without being watched. It gives whistleblowers a way to expose the truth. But on the other hand, that exact same anonymity is a shield for criminals selling drugs, weapons, and all kinds of stolen data. It's wild. The same tool powers both the good guys and the bad guys. Okay, so the big question is, how do you even get into this place? You can't just type an address into Chrome, that's for sure. You need a special key to unlock the door. And that key is a very clever piece of software. And that key is the Tor browser. Tor, T-O-R, stands for the Onion Router. And honestly, it's the perfect name, because that's exactly how it works. Like an onion. It's all about adding layers to protect who you are, so you can visit those weird sites that end in .onion instead of .com. So let's break down this whole onion thing. When you use Tor, your data gets wrapped up in a bunch of encryption layers. Then it gets sent on this crazy journey bouncing between random computers all over the world. At each stop, one layer gets peeled off, just revealing where to go next. So by the time it gets to where it's going, the original path is so jumbled up, no one can trace it back to you. Your identity is totally hidden. Pretty smart, huh? Okay, so getting there might sound kind of simple, but I have to be really clear here. It comes with some serious risks. This is not a place you just browse for fun. So for anyone even thinking about researching this stuff, you have to know the rules for staying safe. They are absolutely crucial. First off, always use a good VPN along with Tor. It's like double locking the door. Second, and this is a big one, never ever share any personal info. No name, no email, zip. Third, don't download anything. Seriously, the chances of getting some nasty malware are just way too high. And finally, just be paranoid. Question everything. Even the so-called trusted sites can lead you to some really bad places. And we gotta talk about the legal side for a sec. This is super important. In most places, just using Tor to browse privately isn't illegal. But the second you use it to do something illegal, well, that is a very serious crime. The anonymity doesn't make you above the law. And don't think that anonymity is some kind of magical invisibility cloak. It's not. Law enforcement agencies from all over the world are all over the dark web. They're running stings, they're watching the marketplaces. The idea that it's some kind of Wild West with no rules, that's pretty much a myth. So let's pull it all back together for a final look. You've got the surface web, open for business, the deep web, private and password protected, and the dark web, anonymous and needing Tor. But the row that really tells the whole story is legality. See how it goes from, yep, totally legal to mixed? That one word says it all. The dark web itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool, and it's all about how it's used. And that leaves us with this huge, thought-provoking question, doesn't it? Anonymity. Is it a tool for freedom? A way to fight back against surveillance? Or is it just a shield for crime, letting the worst parts of humanity run wild? The tough part is, the answer is yes, it's both. And figuring out how we deal with that, that's one of the biggest challenges we face in this digital age.